All right. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hammering Down. I'm your host, Kaylor Hodges, and I am being joined by a very, very special guest, a man who started off in band playing the clarinet and bassoon, made his way to playing soccer as a keeper for Longwood University and on to Rutgers, where he eventually went on to play in the USL for Minnesota and invented Wonderwall, I think, and moved to all sorts of different teams and eventually became the starting keeper and the keeper coach for arguably the best keeper room in all of USL with here in the Legion. Thank you so much for joining me, the Pride of Chesapeake, Mr. Matt VanOekel.
No, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we're just going to go ahead and jump on into this. I started it off with you being a clarinet and bassoon player. You mentioned that in an interview a while back, and I promise that's going to lead into a soccer question. But I do music ed, so I understand a little bit of the clarinet and bassoon. So, do you just have massive hands, or what? And is that what makes you the best keeper in all of the USL?
The clarinet was because I thought the flute was too girly and I couldn't buzz my lips for my music instructor. So he said, "Nope, you're going to play the clarinet." And I said, "Okay, it's a small case. I don't have to worry about it."
Well, so then you moved on to bassoon, and then you decided that I guess this band thing isn't working out for me. I want to start playing soccer. How did that start, and why keeper?
I've been a goalkeeper for as long as I can possibly remember. The earliest memory I have is like going and watching my dad play, and he was a goalkeeper as well. And yeah, it was freezing out that morning, and I was just sitting on the sidelines watching him play. I must have been 4 or 5 years old, and I've always wanted to be a goalkeeper. And yeah, the whole band thing was to appease my mother and make sure that I got my fine art credit for my high school graduation. So as soon as I had that, it was donezo with instruments.
I understand. It's not. I mean, do whatever you can to graduate. That's the important part, really. So, coming out of high school, you went straight to Longwood. What brought you there, and how did you get recruited to go to Rutgers afterward?
Um, I I was always hoping to play in college, and this the coach at Longwood saw me, invited me to come to play for them, and I jumped at it. It was like out of nowhere. Longwood was just moving from Division 3 to Division 1, so he was basically starting the program over, and I sort of fit what I guess he wanted. And then we had an abysmal year in the record standings at 1-16, and the head coach actually went to Rutgers and played under the head coach that was there when I went there. So he made a phone call and said, "Hey, I've got a goalkeeper that's willing to transfer if you'll take him." And so Rutgers, there I went.
I ended up making a pretty good name for yourself, 47 appearances and 20 wins, not too shabby whatsoever. So, and then after that, you graduated, and you weren't really a big prospect coming out, but you went to trial, and then you went to the Minnesota Thunder, which no longer exists. And by all accounts, you really showed up and showed out, and the coaches just loved what you did out there. What was so special about your game that stood out once they saw you in trial as opposed to what they may have saw on some score sheets?
Yeah, I mean, the whole going to trial thing was, I mean, it was the next step. I always wanted to see if I could play professionally. And yeah, I went to Minnesota, and there must have been 300 kids at that combine. And I don't know what they saw or why they saw it, but they invited me back, and I fit in. And I mean, I attribute a lot of my success to Nick Platter, who was the number one at the time, my rookie and sophomore seasons there, because I mean, he taught me a ton about technique and how to play the game. And I had a lot of really important role models in Minnesota those early years, including FC Dallas's head coach, Luchi Gonzalez was there. So, I mean, I had a lot of talented, experienced players that helped bring me along and catch me up.
So after that season, I think you only had one or two appearances for the Thunder, when before they shut down, and then you got picked up by NSC Minnesota Stars, which are now Minnesota United in the NASL, and you became an instant stud. So, what happened in that transition? Did something finally click, or was it you finally got your chance? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I had what 6 or 7 appearances that third year when I re-signed with them, and then I didn't have very many the following year because the number one stayed very healthy. And after for that fifth year, they gave me a shot. They believed in that I could do the job well, and I took my opportunity and I ran with it, and haven't looked back since.
So, you were there in 2011 when you guys won the championship, and were you the starting keeper at that point?
No, that was the season that I only played a handful of games in. So Joe Warren was the goalkeeper there for that season, majority of that season.
So, you would have been there at the time when Wonderwall became a thing. How did that start, and how crazy is it to see from where it started then to where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, I was there when Wonderwall was created and started to be Minnesota's thing, and that is all because of Carl Craig, who is now the head coach at Forward Madison in the USL League One. He, without him, I don't think that club would still be existing with as much passion as he put into it, and his personality. Just he carried the locker room. And yeah, he just started singing it after one game, and sure and behold, after every win, we just kept singing it and kept singing it, and it was just, it's really cool to see where it's taken off to, and I think it's a huge credit as well to the original fans of the club back when it was the Thunder and when it was the Stars, and even into the early United days. So that helped carry that along and made it what it is today.
Well, I mean, you put on a great show when you were there enough to get another contract somewhere else. You decided to go to the rival, Edmonton, FC Edmonton, which I'm sure fans absolutely loved you for. And then you ended up being the Golden Glove winner for 2016. How was your move into Canada? And, what was that whole experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I was always hoping to be able to stay at Minnesota for the duration of my career after being there for what 7 years. And the staff wanted to go a different direction, which I completely understand at this point. And I mean, my wife and I had just what we were, yeah, we just had a kid. Jackson was what 8 months at the time when all this was going down, and she said, "Anywhere but Edmonton, anywhere but Edmonton." And Colin Miller, who was the head coach at the time of FC Edmonton, gave me a ring and said, "I want you to be my number one. I'd love you to come in and sign a contract here." And everything fell into place, and I chose to go even more north into the white unknown, as you'll call it. And yeah, I mean, the first year was a little rocky, the first half of the season, but the second half we turned it on, and then 2016 was just an absolute blessing. He head coach in the front office brought in a ton of talented players. Our group of core guys really clicked, and it was an extremely fun season overall for the entire organization.
So I know Minnesota gets really humid during the summer. It's just about, if not worse, as it is here. But I'm sure Edmonton did not get near as bad as it probably did in Minnesota. So at least the summer was a little bit nicer, I guess.
Yeah, we got the heat advisories, but anytime it would get above 80.
What a how terrible, you know. So I don't while you're at Edmonton, I don't know how aware of you are of this. Maybe you guys have talked about it, but apparently back in 2016, you were just a horrible friend, and you ruined the club debut for Mr. Trevor Spangenberg. He was making his debut against Edmonton in 2016, where he pitched a shutout, but unfortunately, you did too. So that was his club debut for the team, and you totally ruined his perfect game. Has that something that's ever been brought up or something you even knew about?
That is something that's never been brought up, and we have never talked about it in the past. So now that I know this little tidbit of information, as soon as I get off this, I will be calling Trevor and talking.
I mean, just the whole group. I mean, you, Trevor, and then Ford. Like you guys are all studs. What is that? What? How do we have just that much talent? Because all three of you guys could be starting anywhere in the USL. Where is that something that you're doing with your coaching, or is that just coming from the top with Jay? Is he just have a great eye for keepers? What's up with that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something with the front office. I'd love to say that it was all my coaching, and I've made every one of them significantly better. But no, I think it's also them as persons and as goalkeepers. They want to continue to better themselves and continue playing for as long as they can, and they're taking every challenge that they faced and becoming better athletes, players, people, all the 9 yards. So yeah, we're extremely blessed here at the club with Trevor and Ford. So I couldn't be happier with them too.
I mean, it was really nice seeing a guy like you come in because everywhere you've gone, it seems like a fantastic fan culture has followed suit as well. So I know I was super stoked when I saw that you were coming in, especially since I'm sure you know this, but you still hold the Edmonton record for clean sheets in a season, which I'm sure that's a nice little record that you probably, at least I would think about that daily. I don't know about you, but I would. So
No, it's a good memory, but that's all it is. Now it's focused on um, breaking or getting more shutouts here. So looking to the future.
for sure. And then after your amazing 2016 season, you went on to Real Salt Lake, where you got your start against Red Bulls, I think,
Yep.
where you got a shutout. I'm pretty sure. How what was the jump like from NASL to MLS? Because there's already a gap now, current day, but I'm sure it was even bigger back then.
Yeah, I mean the pace, and I think the overall talent was just incredible to see. I had to, I think, slow myself down a little bit when I got there, just because I was going all crazy, seeing guys that I've watched on television for years, the Kyle Beckermans, the Ramondos, all of these extremely talented players that have had amazing careers, and just trying to fit into the group and show what I was able to do. So I was really happy with the Red Bull game. I wish the rest of the season turned out like that, but things happen for reasons.
You've just every almost yeah, pretty much every single place that you've been to where you played has just been absolutely gorgeous. Is that just a conscious choice? Because I mean, Salt Lake's beautiful, Minnesota's gorgeous, Edmonton's awesome. I'm sure your wife's probably pretty happy with that.
Um, I think she was really happy with the Utah move, just because of how much hiking and camping and outdoor stuff was available to her and the kids. So I know that she really enjoyed it and has made some wonderful friends that she still keeps in touch with there.
Well, that's really good to hear. After that, you ended up moving to OKC, which was not great because you did end up having a season-ending injury. Um, what happened with that? And as everybody knows, rehab sucks. What was your process like, and how long did it take you to realize not only physically but mentally that you were all back?
I mean, yeah, 18 was a tough year. If I could go back and start our conversation over, what's the one thing you don't want to talk about? It'd probably be 2018. But no, it was tough. I mean, it was a rough season in the beginning, definitely. I felt 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 games before the injury, we started to turn things around and we're making a push again. And then the hip decided to go pop, and yeah, we had surgery and rehab like crazy. As much as they would let me do, I would try and push them a little bit more. And doc said, whatever, 6 to 9 months, and I said I'll do it in 4. And yeah, and then into the season meetings, there we go, um happened, and luckily I was able to get in touch with Jay and Tommy, and they brought me out for a medical to test the hip and things like that. And yeah, the end of 18 was great because I knew that I was coming here.
What was it like for you to step on the field again? Not even just in practice, but like in a real life game. Was there any kind of mental like, what if this happens again, or was it once you were in the moment, you were there, you were fine?
I think, I mean, during training sessions and stuff, there's always that thought like, all right, I hope this holds up. I hope this guy did what he did right with the surgery, and I did what I could with the rehab. But yeah, once you get into that game, it's all business again. So I mean, it was an incredible feeling for me personally, just stepping back out on the fields in that game, knowing that all right, I still can do this, and yeah.
So before you left OKC, you started Front Foot GK. What is that? And I think that was your first real introduction to really widespread coaching. But what is it and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, yeah, I've been coaching ever since in Minnesota. I mean, back in the early USL, NASL days, guys aren't on a lot of money. We weren't at all on money in those years, so we all supplemented our incomes with coaching. So I mean, I've coached at a bunch of high schools, a bunch of universities, colleges. I did some privates and worked with clubs and their goalkeepers. So I mean, I've been in the coaching realm as long as I've been playing. But yeah, when I got into OKC, yeah, I started front foot. It was basically supposed to be more of like a distribution type of goalkeeper work. Because when I was in Salt Lake, I learned so much from probably one of the best the U.S. has ever had with their feet, and Nick Raimondo. So I thought, all right, well, I need to start teaching kids how to be better with distribution and being able to play with their feet, and how to kick balls and how to make passes and things like that. So it started off like that, and then it slowly became more of just an overall goalkeeper type of camp clinic sessions. Yeah, and I really enjoyed doing that and actually having something that I've started and being able to give back a little bit more to the younger generations.
That's something that I'm pretty sure that you've brought on to Birmingham, which I've met a few people who have worked with you through like Busa and other groups that are in Birmingham, and they've all said that you are one of the top-notch coaches, some of the best coaching they've ever received. So obviously, you're doing a good job at giving back. So I hope I hope you do appreciate that a little bit.
Definitely.
So you come to the Legion, and this is, it seems like, going to be probably your forever home, since I think you just bought a house. So congratulations, homeowner.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Glad you got into the house before everything started snowing and icing. Probably would have been a nightmare. Um, what was it like coming into a new culture, especially one that has, with the Legion, had not really been built yet. Obviously, for the Birmingham Hammers, that was an established fan culture, kinda. But USL brings in a whole new slew of people and a whole new set of eyeballs of fans. What was that like?
I think it was again. I think going back to our front office and having conversations with Jay and things like that, and how intelligent he is, and making sure that the hammer culture wasn't necessarily lost at all, but we just added something to it. So, in keeping with the traditions of Birmingham and Alabama, I think was smart with the whole branding, all the three sparks, things like that. And I mean, from the player standpoint, I think when it's new, you get to be a part of it. We get to sort of make it what we want it to. And I think the experienced and veteran guys did a really good job of setting, I guess, the tone or the where we wanted to take this club. And I mean, we were happy with playoffs for year one last year. A little bit of a disappointment with getting knocked out early, and hopefully year three, we can go all the way with it.
For sure. Speaking of last year, Bruno and I talked before, and I also spoke with this with Mikey, that You guys did not have a single COVID positive test during the season. How difficult was that? And was that something that you were thinking about as a coach as well, not just a player? Or was that just something like, I just need to do my job and not do something dangerous that could cost not only my family, but, the team as well?
Yeah, I mean that's I think our guys were incredible last season. I mean, everyone stuck to the protocols, no positive tests, which really meant that they did what they were supposed to be doing away from the field, and we were doing what we were supposed to be doing at the field last season. So yeah, I couldn't be prouder of the that everyone was smart, had clear head on their shoulders, and we were able to get our season in without any postponements.
One of my favorite moments from last year, I've been going through a lot of these with all the players and, even Mr. J Heaps whenever I talked about him, what talked with him, just favorite moments. And you had one of the most iconic moments already in the Young Legion history when, uh, who was it, Charlotte maybe, decided that they were going to try to take the ball away from you after a PK, and you threw him to the ground and possibly to the center of the earth. um, I don't know how you didn't get any kind of call on that. By the way, that was very impressive how you sweet talked your way out of that. Is Was that just obviously just the heat of the moment thing, and or did you not realize it was going to go down that easily?
I think it was a lot of a lot of things. So yeah, definitely, my temper got the best of me in that situation. I wanted a shutout. I didn't want to give up a penalty or anything like that. And yeah, he came to grab the ball, and I lashed out. And for all the young humans watching, violence doesn't solve everything.
Well, it was awesome to watch. I don't recommend people doing it, but man, it was awesome. It was really nice seeing a player care. Which, not last year, but and not even really 2 years ago, but we've all seen those teams where they have players that just don't care that much. They're just kind of there to be there. And it was really nice seeing the whole team just not give up, especially yourself. I mean, we weren't really in much danger, I think, of losing the match. But you still had that little bit of chip in your shoulder, so we all loved it. So there's that for you. Um, so I have to ask, are you going to be starting a YouTube channel like the Cycling GK, or are you going to start throwing a GoPro in the goal, or what?
Well, the bad thing is I actually have a YouTube channel. I think I have one view in any of the front foot GK videos because Instagram's a lot easier to upload things and YouTube's just a pain in the butt. So, yeah, but no, I'm not. I'm a dinosaur. Instagram is as hardcore as I'll go with social media or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't. Social media is silly.
I mean, you made a lot of fans. A lot of people obviously loved you, but whenever you started doing your, reading stories on social media, all that kind of stuff, everybody was like, went from that's our goalkeeper to build him a statue tomorrow. I mean, you gained a lot of people. So, I mean, I don't think you're as a dinosaur as much as you say. So,
Well, that's because I have a very intelligent wife behind me. So she's like, "Hey, you should read a book on Instagram." I said, "Okay."
well,
She comes up with most of the good ideas.
Well, that's totally okay. If she wants to shoot me some ideas, just tell her to send me a text or something.
Will do.
Obviously, whenever I started asking people questions like, "Hey, I'm interviewing Mr. Matt VanOekel. How, what do you have any questions?" Every single person was like, "I just want you to tell him that I love him, that we think he's the best." And obviously, I have your shirt hanging up behind
Gonna
behind me,
comment on
so
that at the end.
okay, well, it's there. And yeah, really, everybody loves you. So there's never going to be a day that you'll go without. If you ever want to get a beer or a donut, you're never going to have to pay for one in the city ever again. I don't think.
I appreciate that.
Well, I have. This is kind of a selfish question, but also you have some people on the team that are in this situation right now. Within the next coming months, I'm going to be proposing to my girlfriend, and I know that there's a lot of people on the team who just proposed or are planning to. What's your advice on being a great husband and a great father?
One advice number one, and this gets you out of everything: don't do it. Uh,
Okay.
Now, if you don't want to take my number one advice, have fun with it. So, life's an adventure, and I found somebody that has given up a 10-year teaching position in Minnesota to travel Canada, have a Canadian baby with me, um, go to Salt Lake, Oklahoma, and move all the way to Birmingham from North Dakota. So she's incredible, and yeah, enjoy the ride.
Well, good to hear. From North Dakota, how did you meet from North Dakota?
She was teaching in Minnesota when I was playing there. She was the head cheerleader.
Oh, of course. Well, congratulations, and obviously some great advice. I'll definitely keep that in mind, and hopefully other people who are on the team hear that as well. So before I let you go, I want to just give you a chance. If there's anything you want to say to the fans, or maybe there's a question that you want to be asked, or anything, if there's something that you want to throw out there, this is your time. Speak as much as you would like.
Cool. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to 2021 and the season kicking off. Preseason for us is what? 14, 11, 12 days away.
Wow.
So final preparations for us getting ready for the season. We can't wait to be with all of you guys again. Hopefully autograph alleys up and running. Hopefully we can have the stadium packed to the brim with Legion diehards. And yeah, I just can't say how appreciative and thankful I am to every single one of you that stuck with us through last year. And we look forward to putting more W's in the win column this year for you guys.
Well, thank you once again. I can't thank you enough for coming on. And yeah, once again, thank you guys for listening. That was Mr. Matt VanOekel, GK1, and can't wait to see you start a season.